Author's statement of clarity and discernment. This story is written with the acknowledgement that forgiveness is not a feeling, but an act of obedience and surrender before God. It does not minimize harm, excuse wrongdoing, or rush healing. Instead, it seeks to expose the spiritual weight of unforgiveness and the quiet destruction it causes within the one who carries it. This account aligns with the truth taught in Matthew chapter 6 verse 14 and 15, that forgiveness is not optional for those who desire to walk in the freedom God offers. The purpose of this story is not to shame the wounded, but to illuminate the cost of holding what God calls us to release. Introduction to the story. In EveryWhere Earth, forgiveness is one of the most difficult lessons to learn because it feels unjust to the hurt heart. This story focuses on unforgiveness, not as a dramatic explosion, but as a slow tightening grip that convinces a person they are protecting themselves, when in truth, they are slowly imprisoning their own soul. This is the story of a wound left untreated, and the moment it finally demands to be addressed. The story of the unreturned weight. Jonah lived in the river district, a place known for trade, movement, and constant exchange. People passed through daily, carrying goods, stories, and secrets. Jonah was respected there, not because he spoke often, but because he was reliable. If he gave his word, it held. Years earlier, Jonah had a brother named Aaron. They worked together, trusted each other, and planned to build something lasting. Then one decision fractured everything. Aaron took what was not his, not out of need, but out of fear and impatience. The damage was not only financial. It was relational. Trust was broken publicly, and Jonah carried the humiliation silently. Aaron left the district soon after. Time passed, but the weight remained. Jonah told himself he had moved on. He rebuilt his work, strengthened his reputation, and avoided speaking Aaron's name. Yet every success felt heavier than it should have. Every quiet moment stirred resentment he refused to name. In EveryWhere Earth, there is a place called the Crossing, where people bring burdens they can no longer carry alone. Jonah avoided it for years, convinced his strength was proof of healing. One evening, exhausted beyond reason, he went. He stood among strangers and was asked a simple question. "What weight have you mistaken for strength?" Jonah hesitated, then spoke. "My brother betrayed me," he said flatly. "I survived it." The guide at the crossing did not respond with advice. Instead, he placed a stone in Jonah's hands. "Carry this until you leave," he said. At first, the stone felt insignificant. But as time passed, Jonah's arms ached. His focus narrowed. The stone demanded attention. "This is what unforgiveness does," the guide said quietly. "It convinces you that endurance is the same as freedom." Jonah felt anger rise. "He never apologized," Jonah said. "Why should I forgive someone who never made it right?" The guide nodded. "Forgiveness does not deny justice," he said. "It releases you from becoming the prison." Jonah remembered words he had heard growing up, words he had ignored. As taught in Hebrews chapter 12 verse 15, bitterness takes root and defiles many. That night, Jonah did not forgive Aaron fully. But he admitted the truth. I am tired, he said. And I am carrying this alone. That confession shifted something. Days later, Jonah learned Aaron had returned to EveryWhere Earth, living quietly near the outer edge of the city. Fear and anger wrestled within him. They met by the river. No speech was prepared. No defense offered. Aaron spoke first. I was wrong, he said. And I know sorry cannot undo what I broke. Jonah said nothing for a long moment. Then he spoke, voice steady but heavy. I forgive you, he said. Not because the damage vanished, but because I refuse to let it define who I become. The stone Jonah had carried for years was finally set down. The relationship did not instantly heal. Trust was not restored overnight. But Jonah walked away lighter than he had arrived. The people of the river district noticed something change. Jonah smiled more easily. His words softened. His presence no longer carried tension. They learned together that season. That unforgiveness feels powerful but weakens the soul. That justice and forgiveness are not enemies. That release does not excuse the past, but redeems the future. As taught in Colossians chapter 3 verse 13, forgiving others reflects the forgiveness we ourselves have received. And in EveryWhere Earth, another thread quietly connected itself to the growing tapestry, waiting for the moment when all these stories would converge.